And it's a very interesting adaptation because look now, the two strongest junglers available in the pool both go straight to EP.
Oh, and Loveling has a few options up his sleeve. Of course, this guy's been jungling for an incredibly long time, knows a few champions, and he's cycling through them now.
He's hovering over some very strong picks. It'll be interesting to see what he settles on here.
Rengar does seem to be that fourth jungler that we could almost put into that top trinity.
I mean, it has that different flavor, right? Like a lot of the strongest junglers, they have that power from level 2, level 3. Rengar, he can counter gain very strong at level 3 once he has his abilities, which OMG as an old Chinese squad may be able to take advantage of, much like Samsung White. But also, he really hits that power spike at 6, so it's a different flavor. Expect OMG to adjust accordingly.
Yeah, and Kayn just locking in that comfort pick as well now, locking away that Corki, and we saw him playing very well on that champion in the last game, especially in the early stages. Some of those team fights were a little bit rough for him, but did still manage to get a fair bit of that rocket damage, and we've now got Shu sitting on that Braum, so really tanky, and we've been seeing this duo happening a lot, but Uzi is going to lock in the Vayne, and I think we should just talk about that for the rest of the
He locked it in quickly, and this is the hyper carry we want to see. This is the hyper carry flavor that Uzi's famous for.
Definitely putting hype into hyper carry.
But it's one of those things where that worked on Starhorn Royal Club. They were all about Uzi.
Yeah.
Cool, going. They're going to get right in there as well here. So how will that hyper carry work with slightly less peel resources for that hyper carry player Uzi?
Yeah, and actually Lou in the mid lane here on the Syndra now, so we're going to see the reverse matchup coming through between our mid laners of OMG and Energy Pacemaker, and we'll see whether that goes the same way that the champions brought it through last time, or whether this is going to be cool, sort of letting Lou know exactly how to make that one work.
It's interesting. I mean, any sort of targeted burst on a carry like Vayne who's so slippery, it's going to help out.
Certainly is. That Unleashed Power is going to be very helpful there, because even if you're stealth, you're going to be smacked by a bunch of Dark Spheres.
Absolutely.
See whether he does manage to get that one through, as we are waiting for this game to kick off, and I'm really excited to see Uzi on this Vayne.
No, it's just interesting because it's going to be another flavor. We've seen the supportive AD carry who still can carry in her own right, and Siva, and of course Uzi was running through those team fights by the end and picking up that Quadra.
Yeah.
He can still do that on the Vayne, but it's going to be harder for him. He's going to need to really have those mechanics down pat, and he's not one we want to question, though.
Yeah.
A fantastic player.
We're certainly not going to be questioning Uzi's mechanics. We know this guy to pressure everyone at all times, even on this Vayne. I mean, we've seen this in the past, and he doesn't play like he thinks that Vayne is weak in the early game, which generally you would be under the impression that she is, but doesn't mind. And picking it up into a Corki as well, which is arguably one of the best AD carries to have against a Vayne if they do have those standard lanes at the beginning. Well,
a Vayne's success often comes from split pushing in the late game, right? You know, usually once you pick up that Blade of the Ruin King, you have that massive power spike, you're able to chase people down with your ultimate. But split pushing isn't really OMG's game. They love to group, they love to take down those turrets, bash them down, get the vision down, get picks, and take objectives. That's not what you pick Vayne for. You pick Vayne for small engagements, you pick it for split pushing. It's going to be a huge different flavor to this OMG team. Can they pull it off?
We'll see whether they can as we do hop onto the Rift, ladies and gentlemen, with Energy Pacemaker now on our red side and OMG on the blue. We're picking up a different skin here just to make it a different flavor in the mid lane. Cool, just defaulting back.
Doesn't need a skin.
Nah, cool guys don't need skins. Faker taught us that. As Shu, oh, cute little warding with the distortion available there as well by Cool. Gonna know exactly where everyone's wandering around. And another face-off. We'll see who manages to get out ahead as Cool waits for that distortion cooldown.
So we ended up with this Jarvan versus Irelia matchup up the top lane here. And of course, Jarvan is going to have that burst damage. It'll be interesting to see how much AD he stacks here. Will it be Tiamat into tanky? Will it be just maybe some armor penetration into tanky? That kind of the builds kind of disagree on which is the best way to go here. But you have to say, whatever he builds, Irelia is likely to outscale him in this lane. So you kind of want some jungle pressure from that Lee Sin early to put the Irelia on the back foot, or maybe even a lane swap.
Oh, going actually face-checking this one. Going to get stunned up here by the passive of Braum. The Sonic Wave Resonating Spray is a nice play to get them out of this one, and Lou's actually going to successfully disengage this team, but going forced to pop that flask already. As Loveling taking a little bit of damage from the Winter's Bite, but they're not finished. You would have thought that OMG would be on the back foot here, but no, they're still going aggressive.
OMG's not one to run with their tail between their legs. They've got a plan here. They want the advanced wards down, maybe for a lane swap or to spot a lane swap. And hey, it doesn't matter if someone's at half health. They're going to push for it anyway.
They certainly are, and Kayn actually already waiting in this bottom lane, so it's going to be only 4 members here for Energy Pacemaker, and this red buff is going to be taken by OMG. Just such aggressive play, and Kayn wanting to get this freeze happening early.
I've got to say, I've never seen a team with a Summoner spell disadvantage at level 1 actually go in, steal a buff, and get the result they were looking for. That's just the power play of this OMG squad.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter though. Energy Pacemaker able to steal away the red buff on the other side, so it's going to be a bit of vertical jungling coming through by both sides. That is assuming OMG is going to head straight back to their blue. And Uzi successfully manages to get this lane swap that we could understand would be a little bit better for the Vayne player, as Cool now hits level 2 a little bit before Lu as well here in this mid lane. Going to throw out that Sigil of Malice just to tempt the distortion for the proc damage.
And the important thing to take away is you mentioned that Vayne versus Corki, not a good matchup for Vayne. So to be able to go in there, get the lane matchup you want, even after blowing a flash at level 1,
yeah,
it's still a small victory for OMG to start this game.
They're doing well. Going back up to full health now, of course, went back to base. Has managed to pick himself up a ward. Chuck a cheeky one there over by his red buff.
No rush to get into lane, of course.
No, he doesn't really want to walk out too far, but is going to be fine farming under that turret with that Blade Surge, of course, known for being fantastic in that situation. Is Cool just calm and collected, farming out this wave in the mid lane.
And again, these early wards, this safety and laning here just means that Rengar, he doesn't have to be sauntering around the bottom lane trying to react with a counter gank here. He can leave going on his own and try and rush that level 6.
Yeah. That being said, Energy Pacemaker positioning themselves for a bit of a gank here in the mid lane, waiting for that distortion to come through, and that is actually going to be the Dark Sphere landing. Cool already taken down to about no health as we've got Captain 57 coming in. Cool solo, there's the flash, amazing Jay! Didn't even need to teleport, he's already here.
Not respecting that jungle follow whatsoever there from Amazing Jay. Jarvan has access to so much CC and was able to get in there for the first blood. Nice little advantage for EP.
Yeah, and again, Energy Pacemaker playing fantastically straight out of the gate here, as we've got Blade Surge and Equilibrium Strike being utilized against Kayn by Gogoing, getting out of that Phosphorus Bomb quite nicely. So we are just going to pause this one up just for 1 second, see whether we can get this sorted out, but really nice start here from Pacemaker.
And an interesting gap in the vision for OMG that game. We saw how masterful they were setting up a safe lane for going to farm in the first game, and that was very successful for them there. In this game, they didn't respect the jungle follow. They knew that Gogoing was going to enter lane at level 1. He was happy to go into lane with no experience. They had to assume Jarvan was on jungle follow. He hadn't shown anywhere. And Jarvan, if there's ever a champion with a level 2 gank, it's that Jarvan. So a great first blood, smart play from EP, and a gap in the vision for OMG, a small chink in the armor for them.
Yeah, it's certainly working out well for Energy Pacemaker. And you did mention the Jarvan's power. Think about the Lee Sin as well, who's also known for his early pressure.
That's why you only usually get one of them. So
they're
having
not
both.
letting up. We've got Energy Pacemaker heading here into the top lane as well, and they may have caught out Loveling and Uzi here. They're going to try and turn it around. Amazing Jay's logo. Going's come through with that teleport as well, as Uzi using that heal just to try and deter Energy Pacemaker and put them on the back foot.
Drawing a summoner spell from Gogoing there just means, if you look down bot, thankfully the wave has pushed out for Gogoing, so he's not going to lose a massive amount of creeps to the turret, but still, a summoner spell blown.
Yeah, and OMG actually transitioning this to try and get pressure onto this outer turret. There are 3 members here, though. Amazing J, Captain 57 and Shu just hanging out under this turret. OMG aren't going to want to go too far up on this one, but Lu actually dodging out of the way of the Death Sentence, but the chain's going to land. The Ignite's ticking, and Cool answers back in the mid lane.
It's off the chain right there. A really bad pun, but
you're a funny guy.
A great roam coming out there from OMG's support.
Yeah, fantastic work by Lu there as well, killing his namesake there in the mid lane.
No confusion whatsoever with those names.
No, not at all. I'm never known to get confused.
So we look at the CS values. We look at the CS values between the 2 top lanes here. Jarvan struggling a bit, of course, has that kill, so that will make up for about 13 creeps or so. So he's slightly in the advantage, but it's up to Aurelia here to get a bit of support so she can get into lane and tussle with this Corki. Yeah,
and one thing about Vayne as well is the fact that she's actually not too bad in a 1v1 situation on this champion. Gogoing actually dancing around there with that Blade Surge. She'll be able to clear out as many of these as she can, but Gogoing unfortunately Blade Surging into the Phosphorus.
See Kayn doing his job and trying to get as much damage as possible onto Gogoing here. It's going to be a difficult lane for him to farm, especially because he has that level 6 rushing jungler who isn't able to just hang around the bottom lane and support him.
Yeah, Loveling actually only level 4 at this stage. Going to be trying to clear out as quickly as he can. Uzi just taking his time, wanting to scale up into this game. Now 39 CS to the 46 here of Kayn, but different situations for these AD carries.
And looking in the mid lane here, of course, it is the reverse matchup the LeBlanc versus Ari. Sorry, the LeBlanc versus Syndra once again. Cool is behind in CS, but certainly not to the extent that Lua was last game.
No, it's only 4 here as well, and he's got a few more creeps here hanging out in the mid side. It's Captain 57 looking for Loveling, but he does have that ward available. Going to leap out of this brush. There's the stun coming through from the Bowler Strike as well, and Captain 57 forced to safeguard away to that ward. In fact, put an extra one down just for some more security.
Yeah, picking up the Scuttle Crab on his exit there. Down the bottom lane here. Going doing his best to deal with all the pressure coming out of Kayn.
Yeah, he's going to be surging around. You can see Kayn taking a little bit of a turret shot there, but with going with 1 shot left on that passive, you're going to get stunned up under the turret, so it's a little bit tough, but can farm this one out. Of course, 25 now to the 11 of Amazing J. He's struggling up there against Uzi, now just forced to head back into his jungle.
It's interesting to see the different philosophies here. Of course, we've seen EP's bottom lane has been pushed out a lot of the time, so of course Irelia will pick up some of that CS at the turret. One of her kit obviously affords a lot of that, as we see Lua coming for a bit of support here. The difference here is that Vayne has been keeping the creeps holding that wave right next to her turret, and of course with a jungler who has a lot of pressure from level 6 onwards, just wants to control the wave, ensure Jarvan gets nowhere near it, and farm up safely.
Yeah, and as Amazing J did in their last match that we saw, is going to be going for that Tiamat straight out of the gate, not wanting to go for any of those defensive stats early, as Loveling is going to try and capitalize on that one. Maybe a little bit by setting up a gank, but not going to really find anything.
I do like the communication between Uzi and Loveling there, though. Whenever there's a chance that Jarvan's going to be able to get safely to this minion wave, harass him away.
Yep. And it's working out very, very well. Only 14 CS now. That's double going for going here as far as this top lane matchup is concerned.
Does have the kill under his belt, so overall gold will be similar, but doesn't look like things are going to change too fast against this Vayne, especially now that level 6 is out.
Yep, going having a little bit of a better time now that Lu's here just to give him a bit of a hand, and he's going to get the Equilibrium Strike here. The Transcender Blade's coming in as well, but they are just going to back out. Oh, shoot, getting caught by that death sentence there a little bit, but Unbreakable's pretty strong at stopping that damage.
I mean, Aurelia's scaling damage with level more so than with items, apart from that Trinity Force pickup, so have to be careful. He has so much CC available between Aurelia and Thresh.
Yeah, really, really is. We saw that in effect there, just a little bit defensively as a little bit more pressure is down onto Kayn, who's running very low on that mana, and Energy Pacemaker considering a dragon, but might go for some sort of play here down the bottom, but they're going to head back actually, start this dragon off early.
They know Luo is low, of course Vayne's in the top lane here. Teleport is available, so they will have 5 members if they so choose to. It's actually a very good dragon pickup here. It's nice to see them pick up the first dragon. Very decisive play coming out of VP.
Extraordinarily well timed with the back here by Cool as well, so Energy Pacemaker not letting up on the pressure this game and making sure that they're putting OMG through their paces despite a difficult game 1.
And if you initiate that lane swap on the blue side, there's always the chance you give up dragon control just because you have someone up the top lane without teleport there. So it's just good for EP, even against a Goliath team like OMG, to respect that, take advantage of what's been presented to them, and pick up that early objective.
Yeah, going really, really well. Of course, Cool now with a little bit of a CS advantage in the mid lane. Does have a little bit of extra gold as well, a couple of hundred, due to the fact that he has that kill instead of the assist.
Uzi's going to back with basically a full Blade of the Ruin King, holding on to 2,600 gold already, but look, people are looking.
Yeah, she actually using... There's the Thrill of the Hunt pop there as well. So much burst coming through from Cool. It's a nice exhaust, but maybe not under the member he wants, as Cool's going to clear up that kill. And Amazing J, you are in the wrong position, buddy. Uzi gets that kill donated to him on a silver platter.
Killing a Braum through Unbreakable is a very frustrating exercise, but they get both kills there. Uzi now does have the gold for his Blade of the Ruin King. Such a massive power spike from just a Doran blade he's been sitting on.
Yeah, really, really huge. And we talk about Corki as having this mid-game power spike and Vayne more being this late-game hyper carry, but at this stage, if Uzi does get going like this, I mean, he's going to have the power straight away.
It's an interesting thing just because Uzi will have that split push power spike. He'll be unassailable in the top lane to any of EP's champions. Corki will have that grouping team fight power spike. So it's different types of power spike. And if both teams play around them ideally, it could actually even out, despite Vayne going to be very, very strong.
Yep, nice timing on that rocket coming through from Kayn just as that Blade Surge came in on the cannon creep. Making sure he gets as much harass as possible. And is going to be able to take down this turret as we do have the safeguard to the ward there. The Dragon Rage kick onto the side. Going, trying to use some fancy footwork to get out of this one. Sonic Wave's not going to land. They do manage to get the stun, but going safely under his turret. And
Going was always famous for being one of the hardest players to turret dive. His smooth moves under the turret.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful there, and he gets away safely.
Yeah, and that's his veteran status coming in there as well. You could imagine just calm and collected in these pressure situations, and we saw that to great effect.
And when casting previous Chinese games, it wasn't uncommon for going to be turret dived when playing Renekton and pick up a double kill. And it's the same sort of flavor that gets him out of those hairy situations other people might fall to.
Yeah, Renekton's sort of that champion that you don't necessarily want a turret dive.
I mean, Aurelia's no fun either. Let's be real.
True. Yeah. Going definitely playing well, though. Uzi migrating down to this bottom side of the map now.
It's hard to communicate how big a power spike a completed Blade of the Ruin King and Boots is on Uzi right now. And you have to think Corki's like, I don't really want to go back to that bottom lane.
Not now, not ever. He does almost have his Trinity Force as well, so that's going to be a power spike in unto itself. Only needs about 800 gold for that one. But it isn't completed yet, and that's what you need. You need the whole thing in order to be powerful here. That dragon coming up in about 2 or 3 minutes. And OMG will want to try and pressure for that one because, of course, Energy Pacemaker with a fantastic move to pick up there first.
And a crazy pick potential coming out of Cool and Loveling there, so definitely not a brush that EP want to check. Looks like going to be an answer with a turret here, and maybe start to get some dragon control after missing out on that first one.
Yeah, Kane trying to get Uzi off this one. It is successful. They're going to be able to clear their way through, so not going to be able to take that turret just yet, but it is quite low.
And we look up the top lane here. Aurelia is obviously moving out there. Now, Jarvan coming to me. Is that damage Jarvan at least to begin with? A Tiamat pickup here.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what the first trades between these two top lanes look like, but Loveling's going in.
Oh, we have Thrill the Hunt coming down here. Captain 57 is going to get stunned up immediately. Cool's here as well, and the lockdown's long enough for the massive amount of burst to come through, and Cool easily secures that kill.
I mean, that duo bursting a jungler is a scary, scary fact 13 minutes into the game.
It certainly is, and it's actually Loveling having a bit of a giggle. Hanging out by that ward, and he's going to head back. He's not done here as we've got the final hour being popped here as well. Uzi's going to flash forward aggressively. Loveling's going down very, very low. Uzi gets exhausted here as well. They're trying to turn this around. There's the Silver Bolt clock, and here's the mechanics coming through from Uzi. He's still not dead, but Amazing J flashes onto his face. Going's in the backside, though, and Shu and Amazing J, they're going to have to try and get the heck out of this one, as it's a nice nair to come in as well. Cool's back. And there's a nice chain. The Ignite coming down. Amazing J's probably going to die to that one as Going now going to get turned around upon, but it's a nice Lantern to come through as well. But Going getting kicked out of this one. Luo's going to be just evaporated there. Just not going to have the tanky stats that he wants just with that Morellonomicon. And OMG, I don't even really know what happened there because everyone was just filing in left, right, and center.
Target selection's that term that we always use there. And look at how many low HP members there are for OMG compared to the 4 deaths that were suffered on EP's side. Target selection, the ability to call in team fights who to focus on. That's the difference between a team fight victory and just kind of walking away, shaking your head for EP.
Yeah, they were a little bit, but, you know, they did manage to file around effectively. And Amazing J picked himself up another kill. We'll see whether he can transfer that into some more power around this next dragon, which you have to think that they have to try and deny away from OMG because that's going to be so many stats that they can deny. And
you can see the mindset differences between Cool and Plo here. Looking at the items picked up here, LeBlanc 4-1-2 now has the Morellonomicon into that Nihilist Large One, all about the burst damage. And Syndra recognizes that's what Luo needs to do as well. But it's just a difference in playstyle between the two, I think.
Yeah, blasting one versus that needlessly large rod and an extra Doran's ring as well coming through from Cool. And we can just see already putting so much pressure here in this mid lane. And Lu he cannot approach this creep wave.
Well, last game it was all about Syndra zoning the LeBlanc. It's a bit scary for EP if it's the reverse this game.
Really, really is. We've got some dual backs coming through here by Energy Pacemaker. The dragon is alive, though. And Loveling setting up for this one as well. They want to get this Scuttle Crab, and Cool just going to distort back to his original position after almost destroying Lu in the mid lane.
I call that move Securing Dragon.
Zone away so much of that potential AoE CC that Scatter of the Week brings, and it's going to be the duo dragon, the support and jungler. And that is a very easy first dragon pickup here by OMG.
So if we see a 3-1-1 coming here, I'm just not clear who is going to be able to stand tall next to Aurelia and Vayne here on the EP side. That's kind of the worry here. They have great teamfight damage, great picks, but in a 1v1 sense, Uzi and Going are going to be massive in about 5 minutes' time.
Yeah, the question is, I guess, whether the 3 left over there in the mid lane defend off the potential 5 coming through from EP, are they going to have the wave clear necessary to stop them from going on these turrets, or are they just going to have so much pressure it doesn't matter? As we can see, that's 2 members just easily taking out this outer turret in the mid lane, and OMG seem to just have scared Energy Pacemaker away from everything this game.
And it's a great point to bring up the wave clear, because it's very limited wave clear on the 3 members from OMG.
Oh, Captain 57 gets caught by the death sentence. It's a nice flash over the wall there as well. The Unbreakable to come through. There's a nice Glacial Fissure to stop them from coming into this one. The double stun coming through from the Scatter of the Weak. Immediately, Kane takes away Loveling, and it's going to be Loot falling down as well on that Thresh. This is a good start here for EP. There's a Cataclysm. Going gets exhausted as well. 3 members now dead, and Energy Pacemaker, they're not out of this one yet.
And I want to really point out how much work Braum did right there. With the Unbreakable, then dropping down a very quick pink ward, they spotted Loveling. They predicted everything that was going to happen there. And the Braum's fast thinking won them a quick engage.
Yeah, Shu just playing that one to fantastic effect here, and they are going to potentially move around for this outer turret in the mid lane. No one's here to protect this one, and we were talking about the lack of wave clear. There is a big minion wave, and they're going to easily take this one down. And utilizing Kane's power spike here with the Trinity Force as soon as it comes in as well.
I was about to say, I think Loveling should have backed out there once he realized he'd be seen, just because if you don't respect a Trinity Force Corki, that's the sort of carnage that you can expect.
You certainly can, and now 2-1 and 2 here. Kane on his comfort pick, feeling pretty good about this one as Uzi's spotted him out around here. We'll see whether he does want to go for this 1v1. Has been spotted by that ward, and Kane definitely giving him the respect, backing as far away from that creep wave as he can.
And this is where the interesting part of the game comes in. I don't know who you send against Uzi at this point. Maybe a Randuin's Jarvan. He doesn't have it yet, and now he needs to run.
Thrill of the Hunt has been popped. He's going to be able to get the lockdown there as well. And this is the 3rd time we've seen it, and it's happened yet again.
And it's the difference between the split pushes. Some of them get away with it, and some of them get exploded.
Yep, it's going to be the Unbreakable there used to stop Luo from really being able to do much. And Kane's trying to get this damage down. The stun is inevitable here onto Luo. There's a Phosphorus Bomb. Kane just takes down that Thresh with relative ease.
But you'll always take a trade where you're able to take a top laner out and push up a lane compared to just really overextending to pick up just a single kill. So you still have to give that little engagement window to OMG.
Yeah, and we do have actually Uzi building up a Ghost Blade by the looks of things on this vein. The purple build, as it is otherwise known.
It's the split push special.
It certainly is, and once you get that active down when you're taking down that turret, you're going to be doing a fair bit of damage to that one.
Well, it's more that whenever someone comes in vision range and gets Blade the Ruined King, they're dead.
Yeah, they are dead, and you could imagine that with Uzi in the hands of this Vayne, or with Vayne in the hands of Uzi,
sometimes it's hard to separate those two things.
Yeah, exactly right. Oh, Amazing J again getting aggressive on going this time. There's the Cataclysm. Amazing J flashing out of that one yet again. It might buy him some time here as Captain 57's come through, and Shu's just going to stand behind me to one of these minions just to get himself in front of this line, and Uzi continuing to split push.
And all Corki can really do here is hug his turret, try and clear waves with his abilities, and then just say, hey guys, I need some help.
Yep, and just cry a little bit. You can imagine crying might happen.
A single tear at least.
Blue buff could belong to Uzi here as well. He's doing a fair bit of damage due to the fact that that Blade of the Ruined King does a fair bit to the neutral creep. It's going to be donated to Cool though, of course. Wanted to get that one on that guy. Shu not going to land the Winter's Bite here as well. As Uzi going to pop that final hour as well. Going to use that Blade of the Ruined King. Takes the land to safety as well. As Death Sentence going to land on Shu. The box is going to come down, but oh dear, Lu, you're dead, mate. But definitely some nice protection of his AD carry.
And meanwhile, going up the top lane, it's going to get some good damage on this inner turret. Probably not going to be able to take it down. Doesn't quite have the Trinity Force completed yet, but the evasive maneuvers from Vayne were good. And Lu just said, well, I'm going to have to give this up for my team.
Yep, 0, 3, and 5 now on the Thresh, sacrificing himself for the good of his team. As Cool just heading in there. Oh, Uzi actually getting caught up here. There it is, the combo to come through. And this is what we're talking about. If you can target that ability, that Vayne's going to die.
I guess the important factor there is you look at the wards around the enemy's blue buff there. Not many, as we see. Loveling might be going in.
Yeah, Thrill of the Hunt had been popped there. He's hunting down for Kane. Or Captain 57 is going to be leaping out of these brushes. Forced to flash away immediately, though. There's 4 members here. Cool tries to get some Mimic Distortion damage onto this one, but they're not going to be able to fend them off this red buff. And they're going to be able to pick that one up. Actually went to Captain 57, so Kane probably would have wanted that one.
Well, the Mimic Distortion there was doing massive damage from Cool, so it was just a case of a crapshoot of who would take it down. Captain 57 will have to take it.
Yeah, he does have that smite available, so it could secure that one, and it's better than giving it away as the... Oh, wow. Even the Mimic Sigil still doing a lot of work.
Going definitely has his gold for the Trinity Force here, so he wants to go back and shop, but maybe they'll take some kills with him.
Yeah, the Unbreakable Shoot looks a bit breakable now. Look at how much damage to come through from Cool even through that one. The Dragon's Rage is going to go on to go going, but gets stunned up there a little bit by the Scatter of the Weak, but they are going to get out of there just fine. Energy Pacemaker still showing signs of life in this matchup.
But interesting to know that OMG still have those little mistakes from their God tier status that they might achieve by the end of the season. I mean, Uzi, the split push pressure was good. He just didn't have the ward coverage to supplement standing in such an aggressive spot, and that's why Syndra was able to come out of vision and pick up a kill. So once they get some better vision downs, you can see both Rengar and Thresh are going in to try and secure that vision. The split push will be just that much safer.
Yeah, and you could imagine as well, once he does pick up what is quite possibly going to be an eventual Quicksilver Sash, as Cool actually gets ultimated through here. Does get the shield from the Lantern. He's going to be okay. Yeah, I was just going to say, if that Quicksilver Sash comes in, Uzi, you could imagine, is going to be far more happy in this split push.
I think there's going to be some damage before we see any defense coming out of Uzi. That's what Thresh is for.
Yeah, that's true. He's got that Mikhail's coming through soon, I could imagine.
Nice timing on signing the dragon. They know that LeBlanc's had to back away. This could be a second dragon coming down from EP. It's not quite the gold lead that you get in previous seasons, but look, getting objective control over OMG, it's a rare feat.
Yeah, 2 dragons to 1 now. You could imagine that is going to even this game up most definitely, as Transcendent Blade's going to be used by going here. They want to get this inner turret in the mid lane as a response. Lovely and going with not too much damage, and Lovely going to get caught up here just a little bit by that Scat of the Week. Is going to use that ult defensively, but that vision's going to be available from Captain 57. Not going to be able to overextend too far into this, though, as Gogoing's going to pick up that pink ward. Death Sentence not going to find its mark here in the mid, and everyone just posturing around. It's going to be a nice chain to come through at a very odd angle. I do like it when you head back to the distortion and use that chain, because weird stuff happens.
See a massive minion wave pushing the top lane, so Gogoing's going to back off and farm up here. Has got his Trinity Force, so that's the first power spike coming in. A little bit late, you'd have to say, but of course there was the lane swap situation coming out there. Going to be the Yomi's Ghostblade completed on Uzi as he backs right now. The item timings, they're starting to come in for OMG. They're about 2,000 gold ahead, which is a comfortable lead, but not a massive one by any stretch. And there's 2 dragons. They're kind of keeping EP in this game.
Yeah, they really are. As Cool has finished off that Rabadon's Death Cap as well, so big spike for this guy. Wants to probably go for that Void Staff next, I could imagine.
But look, I mean, Luo's matching him item for item.
Yeah,
he does have the Death Cap of his own, so the single target burst you'd have to imagine on Uzi is going to come in. But look at this. I spoke about Uzi prioritizing damage, but he has got that null magic mantle. So a quick QSS. Look, it's not going to solve all his problems, but it'll help out for sure.
Yeah, certainly likes that in a split push situation. It's cool. Just going to walk towards Kayn and then disappear.
And look, much safer split push coming out from Uzi. Look at the minimap. He has 2 defensive wards down. It's not going to be a Syndra coming unawares this time. And more farm comes down for the Vayne.
Yep, cool. Just going to take that land just for funsies. They say, Luke, oh, if you're going to give it to me, I'll take it. As they are going to get pressured here in the mid lane, and it might be Energy Pacemaker noticing the fact that they don't necessarily have as much wave clear in this 4-1 split that they would have otherwise had, as Loveling is going to have full bar here in order to get his bowler strike down with that stun, as Winter's Bite is going to spot him out before they are going to come through. Uzi's rotated around here, though. 5v5 could break out in the mid. We'll see who is going to come out on top, because, of course, a few scaling champions on the side of OMG. Haven't quite hit their stride as of yet.
It's the classic battle, Siege and Engage versus Split Push, but here we go.
The Flash Death Sentence to come through, but that's the Unbreakable Thresh as well. Oh, the box to come down, but so much damage, and that's Thresh already dead. Captain, Amazing Jay's going to fall down. Lou as well. Oh my gosh, the damage from Uzi does get exhausted here, and Kayn forced to flash out of the way. She was somehow still alive, but not anymore, as Uzi, so aggressive, gets slowed straight up. It's a nice chilling smite, but why would you go back in on that one, as Cool just distorts him to death?
The Lee Syndrome finally comes in there in this second game here. The go button was hit. That once that threshold hit, I thought, well, this is not the one you want to follow. It was on Braum, who counter-engaged, but OMG slightly too strong right now. They're going to push down this turret, and it should be the first inhibitor of the game to OMG.
Yeah, and I really like Lou's sacrificial play here this game as well. Using that box, setting it up, getting all of his abilities down, as we do actually have, oh my gosh, Loveling just getting eliminated here. Uzi's down so low. Kayn, is he going to be able to do it? But no, Uzi with the smooth moves picks up a double.
Uzi always finds a way to survive. He does it again right there. Excellent target selection. And that Vayne, she's gotten going, that's for sure. 6-2-2 already.
Yeah, and the cute little zoom in, beautifully done. 6-2-2, as you just mentioned. 232 CS as well, so about 40 up on Kayn on this Corki as well. So scaling through into this game. So much money. 2,000 in the lead over his opposite number on the other side.
And you have to think he's a kid in the candy store in the shop right now.
Oh, picks up the QSS and finishes that last Whisper as well. No one No one can go toe-to-toe against
one of
Uzi
these,
anymore.
one of those, and then some more kills coming my way.
Oh, yeah, just hanging out or just taking everything from the shelves.
Now, Luo here is trying to do what you often do after a big decisive team fight loss like that. Try and get a pick to kind of arrest the momentum that OMG are feeling right here. That is a lot of those balls on the ground there, so he really wants to get a pick.
Yeah, he's got that blue buff as well, so not going to be too worried about running out of mana, but no one going to be coming through, and he's going to give up the situation. Is Loveling just going to try and get that Scuttle Crab, but decides against it this time.
But he's going in.
Yeah, there's a Thriller Hunt being popped. The Valkyrie being used by Kane to just get him out of the way. Loveling takes a lot of damage, though. Cool as well gets immediately kicked back, but going. He's in out the back. He's going to take down Kane. Amazing stretch. Armstrong onto Amazing J, and he's dead. The box is here as well, and Shu, he's just going to die. Uzi wanders around him for that one. He wants more kills. Captain 57 now the focus, and this Vayne with so much damage. The passive as well. Is it going to be enough? No, just gets one last auto attack, and Uzi's so deep in this base.
I just love the bloodthirstiness of Uzi there. He saw a closer kill. Could have padded out his stats more, but he was like, nope, I want the Lee Sin right now.
Yeah, turned around just as an afterthought and gets that kill as well. So 7-2-3 now on this Vayne. Probably didn't get as many kills as he otherwise would have liked.
I gotta wonder if Uzi sees the Nexus exploding as a sad event. It stops that kill momentum from coming out.
Yeah, he has to leave the rift and stop killing everyone.
There's always next time.
Yeah, it certainly is. Hops straight back into Q and just starts trying to kill people, even after
so we
the
start
game.
looking at the stats again. I mean, it's 10,000 gold is the lead now for OMG. Oh, out of nowhere. Remember, it was 2,000 gold.
Yeah, and
quite
NG Pacemaker were
comfortably.
looking really good up until about that 3rd, 4th Dragon mark.
And we're only 28 minutes into the game. That was probably, what, 6-7 minutes ago it was looking quick? After that big tussle, it's looking really hard for EP right here.
Well, Thriller Hunt has been popped. They've found multiple members here. It's a nice knock up here from Amazing J. The Cataclysm come through. Blue's going to die straight away. Cool's just going to distort his way in. Blue was there for a sec, but now he's gone. And Kane coming in with a fair bit of damage. Uzi's going low, but look at the burst potential. That's going to be the double coming through for Uzi now as well. The final hour's popped. Kane's dead. Cool's going to pick up that kill as well as he gets the heck out of here. Scrying Orb going to be used. They're looking for more kills.
And you have to say, we're getting questions answered for us here, Atlas.
Oh,
what does OMG look like when they're ahead? They look scary.
Yeah, they certainly look terrifying. 9 kills on both of their massive carries over here as well in this LeBlanc and the Vayne. And man, DFG was actually picked up. I thought Void Staff sort of for the safer option. Nah, ultra aggressive Deathfire Graph going to come through from Cool.
And I can only imagine how much distraught this OMG lineup will unleash on their enemies. You look down the lineup, well, Aurelia's fed and farmed. LeBlanc and Vayne are fed out of their minds. What do you do in a team fight? Who do you target? Maybe the closest target. That's all you can do.
Doesn't matter. It's all just people to kill here on the side of OMG, and they're just going to clear out these objectives as they can find them. And man, what do you do if you're Energy Pacemaker in this situation? It must be so hard to keep that morale up.
I think you just try and take out what you can from the rest of the game. Maybe work on your vision, maybe work on your target selection. It's going to be a very difficult one to come back from, unfortunately, for them.
Certainly is, as Going and Uzi just together. Going to be clearing out these waves, and it looks like the bottom lane is going to be the focus for the next inhibitor. Cool's just hanging out in the base of Energy Pacemaker. Not too worried here at all. Does have that distortion, be so sneaky. And they are all going to file in here. They want the last team fight. There's the flash. The Descent's not going to find his mark, though. Loveling going to launch himself onto this one. And Shu's not really the target they want to focus on because he's so tanky. We've got the Lantern is just hanging out, but no one really hard engaging onto this one. The Descent's going to land on a Shu yet again. Cool's going to finally take him down. Amazing J traps 3 people in the Cataclysm, but that was just trapping himself to die as Uzi now aggressive as you like. Going as well. Uzi flashing aggressively. This is the guy. OMG. Cool just annihilates Captain 57, and I don't think Energy Pacemaker want to leave that fountain because that just means that they're going to die.
Highlight reel play after highlight reel play for each of the 3 OMG main carries right here. Loveling no slouch, of course, with all the initiations. You have to think that's going to be the game.
Yeah, that's the second inhibitor going to fall down as Cool just trying to throw out some more abilities here. The Unleashed Power is available here from Luo, so he might be able to do a little bit of work if they manage to get these turrets helping them out. As Going's actually going to flash on him. Transcendent Blades coming through yet again, and with so much extra tenacity on the side of Going, he's not too worried about getting stunned up.
There's overstaying, and they're still being in the base right now, about 2 minutes after a fight. They're finally sauntering off. They just want to go buy a few more items and come back, I think.
Yeah, and Loveling and Loose still just so low health, but happy to hang out as Energy Pacemaker finally make their way out of their base, or the shambles that used to be their base.
Yeah, not too much to take if you're an EPHK fan right here. Although
Uzi might get caught up here. He does get knocked up. There's the Sonic Wave. Resonating Strike, a nice ground slam with the Tempest. And Captain 57 picks himself up a kill on the main carry.
Well, at least some catharsis coming out for the EP guys, finally getting on top of that vein.
Oh, Captain 57 not done yet. Oh, not going to quite find Cool, who's very low on mana. Multiple wards getting popped down here. Is Cool just going to hang out in the middle of nowhere and just back? He's not too worried about what's going on. Loveling popped that Thrill of the Hunt. He's got a fair bit of cooldown reduction now. Probably doesn't... Oh, actually not too much. Went for that Banshee's Veil instead.
He's just scouting out, hoping for a quick pick there. I imagine the plan now is just to pick up that Baron vision, take that objective down. You have the waves pushing so hard, of course, and from there close out the game.
Yeah, it seems to be a little bit of a spiral here for Energy Pacemaker. They're going to have a wondrous engage. Kane's getting found by Loveling here, but he's a tanky Rengar. Not exactly with the damage that you'd want, and that's just an easy kill here for Kane as Going's come through. Immediately gets exhausted, though, as well, and he's going to get stunned at the same time. This 2v1 situation working out for Energy Pacemaker.
Worth noting, of course, no real cavalry coming through here. Cool, though. He's in the brush.
Yeah, we do. Okay. Okay, Amazing J, I think, was there. I'm not sure.
You'd be forgiven for thinking that was a full damage, Jarvan.
Yeah. Actually, going to get stunned here as well. He's going to get balls thrown at him, and he's going to fall down. Lou picks up that kill. It's a double play into the box. More sacrificial play. Cool. So much damage with that distortion. Lou gets stunned, but he's not going to die this time.
This isn't over because Vayne got full health. She's coming.
Yeah, she's heading straight in the front door as well. Just going to take down this inhibitor, being like, guys, yeah, come and fight me. I dare you.
I think they're going to take a rain check on that one.
I certainly would.
All right, so they pick up the objective here. Baron's probably the best objective to pick up here, but of course they're picking up turrets left and right, so it doesn't really matter. You have to think they're going to back off, pick up that Baron just to cement their advantage.
Yeah, Loveling, he's a bit close to that one. Just says, guys, I want to take this. Come and give me a hand. He's hanging around in the pit. I think he's... Come on. Come on. Ah, cute little death sentence into the Dark Passage. And that's going to let the OMG members easily take down this Baron. Of course, Vayne so much damage with both the Blade of the Ruined King and those Silver Bolts. It's going to be the teleport coming down from Going as well after he went back and picked up his Spirit Visage as well. And we didn't mention the item pickup here by Uzi, but he now has that Mercurial Scimitar as well. That extra movement speed when you push the button, and of course that cleanse effect, which is so fantastic coming through. Not to mention another heck of a ton of BF Sword damage on that as well.
And that Baron buff is the fruit of that sustained push. They spent so much time in the enemy's base, they never had a chance to go out there and get any defensive wards around Baron. Easy, uncontested Baron coming out. And now we're waiting for the people to come from the base. 3 carries. Look at these 3 main men who are looking to carry OMG this season. They're all in the enemy base, and they're ready for some more.
Yeah, but oh my goodness, already so much damage. It's a nice triple stun coming through onto the members of OMG, but Energy Pacemaker just trying their very best not to fall over. And this is the last valiant defense to come through from the members of Energy Pacemaker as Kane takes a lot of damage. Shu again going to be the focus, but he's not as tanky as he was before as Loveling found his way around the side. The bowler's going to land as well. It's a nice essence on Lou. He was there for a second, now he's dead, and that's going to be the Cataclysm to come in as well. But oh my gosh, Amazing J, just so much damage from OMG coming in. And that is the Nexus is now going to be the secondary focus from all of these kills, just going left and right onto OMG. 31-15. What a bloodthirsty game as they're diving the fountain. And now the Nexus falling. And Uzi just with so much damage onto those structures.
And so the question we had there, Atlas, the question that we came into this match thinking is, so they've got 3 main carries. Surely someone has to step back and be a bit more supportive. Someone has to give up that carry status. On this evidence, and okay, it's against EP, it's not one of the top teams.